to The Two Marks, exclusively on the Pod Station.
Welcome, listeners, to a new show brought to you by The Two Marks. This time we're discussing The Mandalorian Season 2 review. And let me have a good old blow with my oboe. And once again, we're delivering an irreverent review, providing you lively debate, conversation, and social commentary. Is Gus Fring selling Los Polos Hermanos in Mos Eisley? Will Gene's guy get his own spin-off show? When will stormtroopers learn how to shoot better? Who would win in an egg-eating contest? Cool Hand Luke or Baby Yoda? How small is Mando's bedroom? How many Tusken Raiders does it take to kill a crate dragon? Is Boba Fett like me and thinks he can fit into his 30-inch waist trousers after 30 years? This is the way. All this and more will be unpacked in this week's episode. Let me introduce my friend and co-host, Mr. Mark Pollard.
Hey, lucky 13, mate. Yeah, it took you 13 attempts and you got it right.
Thank you for that. Always positive.
Constructive criticism. You were shit the other 12 times.
It's good for my self-esteem.
How are you?
I was just drinking a bit of coffee there.
The consummate professional. Take 14.
Gagging on a coffee whilst recording a podcast. I'm very well, thank you. Yes, can't complain.
Shall we introduce our guest because he's back again?
Oh, of course. Let me introduce our Star Wars fan of the ages, Mr. Dave Forrest.
Hello. Hello, Mark. Good to be back.
Well, it is. You say fan of the ages. He didn't know who shot first.
No, I didn't know who shot
Amongst
first.
many other things. Tell the listeners, Dave, what's your notes looking like?
So many notes this week. I downloaded from Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, yes, of course, listeners. Wikipedia. The font of all knowledge. If you want to find out anything, Wikipedia is the go-to.
In my instance,
I've gone for it.
In my instance, I've just not bothered with notes. I think I technically come below Dave in the note-taking department.
You've actually gone in reverse, in fact, because normally you at least have a post-it note or a stamp to write on the back of. You've done none.
I say I haven't got any notes. I did write the word Mandalorian at the top of the piece of paper, so I do know what we're talking about. I didn't put S2. I thought that was a step too far in my preparation.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, Dave will carry us. It's fine.
I'll carry you. I've got all the info here.
There you go.
Trust but verify.
Shall I go through the boring bit first? If you think this completely lacks in any form of professionalism and you feel you want to let us know, then you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. It's at The Two Marks. Go and abuse us there. If you want to send us an email because you were particularly dissatisfied with the level of quality of service, then it's thetwomarks@thepodstation.co.uk. If you want to give us a 5-star review because you felt pity on us, you can do so by doing it on whichever of the major podcast platforms you use to listen to your show. If you want to find us, you type in The Two Marks, or alternatively, if there's a particular genre that you like, which we cover. So we do 2 Star Trek shows. We do the Picard Talk and Disco Fever, which is Star Trek Discovery. You can type in those into the search and just get those episodes on their own. Or we've got a Film Podyssey, or whatever it is that we're going to call this one. But for the time being, if you stick to The Two Marks, you should be all right. Don't worry, Mark. I'll carry this show because you're still drinking your coffee.
It's called The Mandalorian.
Okay, but I'm not creating a new channel. I'm not creating a channel called The Mandalorian. Just listen to it on The Two Marks. That's all I say. Should we get stuck into the show?
Well, it's going to be on 2 Marks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's start at the very, very beginning. Episode 1, The Marshal.
Well, episode 9, technically, isn't it? It's chapter 9.
Another Western.
It's chapter 9, but it's okay. I mean, if we start getting into that, we're going to confuse ourselves, aren't we? So it's season 2, episode 1, The Marshal. Yes, technically it is chapter 9, but let's keep it simple because we're going to end up losing ourselves when we get to chapter 16, version paragraph 4. What do we think?
It's another delve into the Western style, isn't it?
Is that what Wikipedia told you, Dave?
No, I'm not looking at that.
I don't know what I'm looking at. You've got your nose right up to that microphone.
I'm not looking at. No, it's another Western style cowboy.
You look like you're sucking off a Muppet right there.
This episode has
for the love of God.
Is that you?
That's me. That's not my mum this time.
I can't do that.
It's my phone, but I can't turn it off. Canal, what's going on there?
Hi, Mum. Love you.
Hello.
Hello, YouTuber design and marketing. No, we don't do that.
Someone just going, I thought it was Rolf Harris for a minute. It was just going, Rolf's Cartoon Club. You can join today. No unknown number there. Probably random. Chris Roxburgh. Yeah, being all happy. So, yeah, I mean, so what were you saying about the episode, Dave?
Well, it's sort of Western style again. We're going back to this, he meets this gunslinger, doesn't he? Who's dressed up in Boba Fett's outfit, basically.
Well, he's got a bit of it left, hasn't he? He's managed to find it off some Jawas as an exchange. The theme was a little bit of the Japanese fighting movies, Shogun stuff, and then also the Western, wasn't it? It was a combination.
Wasn't. It was Tremors in space.
Oh, yeah, Tremors.
Wasn't it? It was big slugs sliding under the sand, eating folk, and they had to kill them.
Oh, right.
That's what this episode was. This was just a rip-off of Tremors, but on a different planet, so they couldn't get sued for it. And actually...
Why didn't it just eat the whole building?
Well, exactly. And actually, starting at the very beginning, they decided to rip off Monsters, Inc. because that fella looked distinctly like Mike Wazowski, except really old and not particularly healthy. At the beginning when they're at the boxing match or whatever it was, the battle, and he's sitting next to the fella with the one eye. Yeah, I quite like that beginning, I have to be honest.
He strings him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of the sheriff, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy who played him, Timothy Oliphant, who fans will know, he played the US Marshal, Raylan Givens.
Oh, hang on. Which guy are you talking about? Because I'm talking about the fella right at the very beginning now. The guy with the one eye. Not
the boxing ring.
Yeah. The gangster guy he strings up at the end and lets a load of evil Ghost. There's another film that they cribbed it from, Ghost. When there's all the evil demon things that drag people away into hell and eat him. That's like those dogs. So basically what this fella did was sat down for this episode with an encyclopedia of films between the years 1990 and 2010 and just stole all the major threads, really.
Yeah. I was specifically meaning that the Western style was originally the type of George Lucas theme, not this episode. But yes, Tremors and other movies, there was no scene in there, was there, where he was doing some moulding of clay?
No. Oh my God, I've just realised how much this film has just covered my entire childhood of watching films, because the guy who plays the sheriff in town, I always remember him, and I certainly can't shake him from his performance in Scream 1, spoiler alert, when he's the boyfriend. No, he's not the lunatic boyfriend, he's the mate of the lunatic boyfriend, is it? I can't remember. He's a baddie in Scream. I'm going to have to check IMDb, because I'm sure he's a baddie in Scream.
Who's the guy you're about now? Because I think you've just... Did you watch the actual episode or something else? Because I don't know what you've been watching.
Yeah.
Was it? You're saying he's the baddie? David Arquette?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking it was Matthew Lillard. On episode 1, you're talking about?
Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, that's interesting how you know him from that. He's not in that though, is he?
We're in Scream. So how do I...
You know him from... He was in
Scream. No. Scream 2, bitch. Read it.
Scream 2.
Scream 2? You said Scream?
Scream.
Yeah, no, but the Scream franchise, I mean, listen.
There's no fucking 5 films?
Let's not be pedantic about this. Scream.
Let's be specific about it. There's 5 fucking films in a TV show, and you go, he was the baddie in Scream. Which fucking one?
The second one, spoiler alert, people.
Right, okay, well, it wasn't the first one, clearly, because I've got that up. Basically, the guy you're talking about, Timothy Oliphant, was in Deadwood. If you've seen Deadwood, he played a cowboy in there. He was in Justified, playing Raylan Givens, and he's been in one of the Die Hard films. He played the villain in that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, to be honest, you can name all of the films that he's been in, but none of them matter to me one iota. He remains the guy from Scream 2.
But not Scream 1.
No, because he wasn't in that silly.
Well, I'm glad it's only taken us 20 minutes to sort that out. We've got 8 episodes to cover. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same time.
I mean, Dave mentioned before about the fact that he was wearing Boba Fett's clothes, which clearly don't fit, because I noticed when he was walking around, he seemed to be carrying a walnut between his arse cheeks because he has an awfully weird way of walking. He's got like a knocked knee thing going on. If you watch him, it's one of the most bizarre walks. He's obviously trying to do the cool sheriff walk, where every time he puts his hand down, you hear the spurs on his shoes jangle against the ground. That sort of walk, which is nowhere near as impressive when it looks like you're carrying a pineapple between your ass cheeks. Yeah. Did you notice that, Dave?
I didn't notice any. You're into him, aren't you, Mark?
The thing is,
I'm all over him.
That's his actual walk. That's how he walks normally.
No, I know. No, I get that.
Okay.
I'm not disputing that. It's just a really, really weird walk.
Yeah, I think he's got one leg shorter than the other. So to adjust it, that's how he walks.
So what you're essentially saying is I've just made fun of a disabled person.
Basically, that's exactly what I'm saying, yeah. Because he walks like that. When I saw him in Deadwood, I was exactly like you going, oh, he's walking like he's got a bit of a swagger to him. And then he did the same in Justified, and then he does it in everything I've seen him in. Basically found out why. And I think due to an injury, either his hip. All
right, you don't need to lay on. I already feel bad about making fun of the disabled person.
And then he's in a wheelchair now. And
we've got his whole medical history.
Yeah, I've got his medical report here, and he gets to the front of the queue at cinemas.
He does have the smallest hips as well in the world. I mean, from like the waist down, he's barely there. His upper body, he looks pretty ripped from like his ass downwards. There's nothing there. I mean, it's impressive, and he looks great for it. But yeah.
But there's no way he's fighting the dragon. Because he's just...
Is that a drug?
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah.
To be fair, whether he walked like that or not, the size of that crate dragon, I don't think he'd take him on his own. I know he's got like a big stare as well. I mean, he's going to have like a staring competition with the dragon. Obviously, so it's a typical Western vibe to it, hasn't it? Where he goes to the old saloon bar and the old town that's been forgotten just at the era of kind of the railroad being built and the gold mines and the gold rush time. And obviously he's got half of the Mandalorian armor, hasn't he? He's kind of made his own Blue Peter sort of sarong.
He looks like someone who could have been on Blue Peter, like a presenter.
Yeah,
he has got that look about him, hasn't he?
Or maybe that's where he got his skills to make his sort of wrap-around skirt thing he's got going on.
He's got his little Blue Peter badge on underneath his vest.
And he's got a gold one, which means he can walk into Alton Towers without paying.
If you turn the armour over, maybe it's got cornflakes.
Double-sided sticky tape.
It's got cornflakes on it.
What he didn't show you is that a gust of wind just rips it off. Someone's missing egg boxes and polystyrene boxes. That's
why he goes to the bar and just sits there, because obviously when the guy's serving booze, the boxes from which he's emptied the bottles, to fill up the fridge, he says, can I have them boxes? I need to make some boots for me to go with my armour.
He's getting his armour right before he goes and fights the dragon.
And maybe that's why he walks that way, so it looks like he's walking side on, so you don't see behind, because he actually hasn't got any. He ran out of cornflakes boxes. Yeah. To be accurate, it's because he's pigeon-toed and he's tried to make himself better. He hasn't broken any hips, so you don't need to feel bad. He's just massively pigeon-toed.
Okay.
Ballet.
We've sorted that out now.
I'll sleep tonight. It's a good start to season 2, though, wasn't it?
He's a good character. And actually, the two of them, the Mandalorian and him, it creates that really good dynamic, because he has obviously stepped up to be the guardian, the protector for this saloon village, whatever you call a Western village. Do you know the name of a Western village?
A village?
Not Best Western, that's a hotel.
An outcrop.
An outcrop.
An outlying village of...
He's stepped up to be the protector, and through whatever dealings, he's probably looked after some Jawas along his way and got Boba Fett's old armour, and then he's just put some shitty, those grey joggers people wear? He's got like a pair of them underneath, and he's gone, I'll just tie that up with some sequins.
In fairness, that has to be one of the shittest villages to have to protect in the whole world ever. It's just a row of 10 buildings on either side and then just desert. I mean, it's not even really a village, is it, Dave? There's no church, there's no school, there's a bar and a couple of houses.
Probably didn't even have Uber Eats.
Yeah. And every now and again, big dragon comes down the main street and chews it all up.
Those roads look like most of them do here in Merseyside, with the lack of money that the council spends on repairing it. It must be because we too have underground dragons that go through and create massive potholes every day that we have to drive over. What they do now,
because there's no money, all they do now is they take up all the paving stones around Wirral. They basically tarmac it and then send all those paving slabs to Colding.
For the rich ones.
Yeah. Essentially, all the rich people are benefiting from our old paving slabs. Where I live, they've literally removed all the paving stones, taken them away, and they've just put tarmac down.
Maybe they're doing you a favour, because maybe the dragons are just causing those paving stones to go all... you get the trip, slip, fall jobs.
Yeah.
Well, they're just removing those, aren't they? Because, of course, the dragons are going to cause murder.
The dragons around where I live, there's a lot of them, so maybe that's what it is.
This episode sort of sets a general thread which runs through the whole of this season about there being a wider Mandalorian community. In season 1, we do see the episode towards the beginning when he decides that he doesn't want to kill Baby Yoda and he wants to save him, and he's trying to escape wherever it was that he was holed up. we see a load of Mandalorians sort of protecting him so he can get away. But beyond that, we haven't really heard or seen or spoken about a wider community beyond that little bubble that we saw there. And when he obviously sees the guy from Scream 2 wearing his cornflake packet Mandalorian armor, it's the first time we think, oh, there's another Mandalorian there.
Yeah, they're actually someone to look up to.
The thing is Boba Fett isn't specifically a Mandalorian, although they've retconned it, which is kind of jumping ahead of the show, but they have retconned it. He technically wasn't a Mandalorian. He just happened to have the armor.
Yeah, but did you see that outfit when he came into the bar, and did you think Boba Fett? Because I didn't really know that. I just saw it and go, oh, it's another Mandalorian.
I didn't, because he wasn't wearing the full set. I just thought it looked similar to...
You thought there was some Boba Fett stuff, though. There was something going on.
The thing is, you recognised it. You recognised the armour, and then very quickly you also thought, hang on a minute, there's something wrong with it. So you recognised it from Return of the Jedi, and then you thought, oh, hang on a minute, it's missing the trousers.
But then you thought, this guy's just trying to be Boba Fett.
He's a wannabe, yeah. He's basically stolen valor.
Be Boba Fett.
He's stolen valor. It's the kind of people who are begging on the streets and they've been, oh, it's in the forces, and they're like, mate, you haven't even been anywhere near the army.
But I don't know why he'd want to be Boba Fett, because why would he go there? Because there's nothing there.
Well, he's not. I think he's just got the armor. I think we're giving him far too much credit.
He just thinks it's
he's trying to be the big hard man in a village of 5 people.
So when he was with the Jawas, he said, I'll have that stuff on the wall there, but not really knowing what he was getting.
It's like people go to the pound shops and they just grab a pile of stuff because it's a pound.
Yeah.
If you go to B&M and there's, like, I don't know, 20 toilet rolls for £1, you're going to buy them for £1.
You do though, don't you? You go in, you go, oh wow, Kit Kat for £1. You go out and then realise next door you could actually get a Kit Kat for 60p.
That's the thing.
Everything's £1, including the stuff that shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, they're not lying. It just means that sometimes they win, sometimes they bag of crisps, £1. What?
Yeah.
It's like going to the casino, isn't it? In the pound shop. Have I got something that's worth £1 or not?
Well, maybe that's what he did. He went to the pound shop, bought 5 boxes of cornflakes for £5. And then made his suit out of them.
And a Mandalorian outfit.
Yeah.
So he's got his sloggies on. He's got his cardboard cutout, Kellogg's cornflakes outfit. He's been to B&M. I mean, interestingly enough, when we had the riots in my area, the 2 places that got broken into was McDonald's and B&M. So somebody got away with £20 worth of sweets. Meanwhile, in Liverpool, they were taking 50-inch plasma screen televisions and like, oh, I've just broken in, got 10 lighters for £1.
If any of these businesses would like to be a sponsor, the 2 marks at podstation.co.uk.
Or not.
Shall we move on to chapter 2? Because I'm conscious, chapter 10, sorry, episode 2. Shall we move on? Because, of course, we've got plenty more.
To wrap up episode 1, basically, he enlists him, doesn't he, to help him kill the Crate Dragon and the Tusken Raiders that are normally the ones causing problems. For those who don't know, Tusken Raiders, the Sand People.
The Sand People,
Quick question to you fans of the show. Do you know why Tusken Raiders march in a single file?
Yeah.
Go on,
Do you want to answer this, Dave?
Dave knows.
It's so that you don't know how many there are.
Boom! Now there you go. That's a fan, and he's not actually a fan. If we had our mate Gareth on the show, he's got a woman, so you won't see him.
Hi, Gareth.
A big shout out to Gareth from your
prison.
Prison. How was the tunnelling going? She noticed the spoon was missing, so it's put it back a few weeks. And he's been walking around the back garden, shaking his leg so he can put all the soil back in the garden.
That's how he's getting rid of it.
Yeah. It's like Escape from Colditz. Basically, he would have known the answer to that. So well done, Mr. Pollard. That was very, very good. Did you know that, Dave?
No, I didn't, actually.
To be honest, I knew that largely from a survival. I'm sure I've watched an army survival program at some point, and they've said that that's why you walk in a single file, so that they can't determine how many of them are. And I just applied logic. Although I do think they actually mention it in that episode, don't they? Yeah, I'm sure they do.
So they basically kill the Crate Dragon, and the Mandalorian, Mando for short, trades back with Hob Vath, I think his name is. He trades back the semi-part, the Boba Fett costume or armor, and it looks like they're going to have a bit of a showdown, but they actually get on, which is nice. So then it moves us nicely into episode 2 called The Passenger. So this is where Peli gives Djarin or Mando another covert mission, but this time he has the task of ferrying Frog Lady. That's her official name, and she's up the duff. So Mr. Frog has fertilized her. So Mr. Mando has now been given the job to ferry her through hyperspace to get her to a planet. I'm not too sure what the name of the planet is, but then they get stranded somehow on a snowy planet, which, typical to the Lost in Space movie, not the series, is full of spiders.
Spiders, yeah.
They love a spider, don't they? I have to say, the first episode in season 2 was really good. But out of the 8 episodes in this season, I would probably put chapter 9 as the second weakest, and I'd probably put chapter 10 as the weakest in this season in terms of how good the episodes are. I thought the first one was good. I mean, listen, when I say the weakest, I still think they're amazing episodes. But I do think this second one, where basically the only really fun thing is watching Baby Yoda eating all the eggs.
Yeah.
He's a little bastard, isn't he?
I wondered on this one where once you saw Frog Lady, you thought, oh no, we're going down all these strange characters again now, aren't we? And it's going to get a bit silly.
Oh, did you have a Jar Jar Binks flashback?
Yeah, I just thought, oh no, it's a little Jar Jar Binks.
It's funny Dave mentions that, is because I saw Frog Lady and I was trying to work out what the purpose was. I get the understanding that he's obviously, we were talking about this in season 1 in terms of they tell a story, but they have the characters jump into the season that don't specifically have anything other than ciphers to move the story forward, but then they can come back later in the season. So we don't spend a lot of time trying to understand who they are, but what we do, we kind of come across them again. So as part of, I suppose, the hero's journey, he will come across people that allow him to move the story forward. So this particular case, to find out more about the Mandalorians, he has to take this woman
to go to the planet.
Frog woman to the planet. So it means that there's value in the purpose of what he's doing. He's undertaking a task. But I saw the Frog Lady and thought, is it going to be another one of these Jar Jar Binks moments? And luckily, it didn't fulfill that thought. But this particular episode, there was a lot happening. I mean, not being funny, the Razor Crest, I didn't think it could take much more damage than it did.
Well, the other thing is, I don't ever remember Jar Jar Binks getting naked in the prequels.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe you did. Maybe you just didn't see it. Maybe
but you didn't see it. You got a bit raunchy. Old Frog Lady, despite the fact that she's married and, as you say, up the duff, wasn't shy about just stripping down to her nothings and jumping into that jacuzzi.
In the jacuzzi, yeah.
Yeah.
But we also got X-Wings as well.
We did. Well, they were quite good because they obviously are clearly, because of where this is set, they're now patrolling the area and making sure there's nothing going on, because they wanted him to give them, because first of all, he ended up trying to evade them, didn't he? Which is why he ended up on the planet in the first place. But luckily, they did a bit of due diligence and went back and ended up saving him. Not sure whether he hired the A-team on this episode, because he managed on a snow planet, only with spiders.
Yeah.
His ship was absolutely shafted.
Yeah.
I mean, he was worse than my old Amiga.
Oh, my God. Yeah, do you know what? I think I'm going to have to post that video onto our social medias.
Do we have a bullying policy? Because all I see on our social media is me. What was the other thing?
I won't spoil it, people, but if you go to our social media, you will find what was possibly one of the funniest videos I ever got to take of Mark. And what you see in that video is legitimately what he had to do to get into his car.
It's also a reason for you to give us money on our Patreon page. Do you want to tell them our Patreon page?
Yeah, patreon.com/the pod station.
If nothing else, the video will inspire you to understand that we have no money.
I feel like I need to show Dave the video just so he can experience it firsthand.
Do I get royalties?
Where are we? Right.
It's funny because it's serious.
Oh my God, it's fucking hilarious.
Planned. It wasn't planned. Who kept it?
Of course I have.
He keeps everything.
Oh, it's the funniest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. Oh, hang on. So, Mark and I just finished a meeting together, Dave. Can you see that?
I can see that, yeah.
And I said to him, pretend you're walking towards one of these nice parked cars.
Yeah.
And then veer off to your car at the last minute. This is legitimately what he had to do to get into his car. Oh, it's fucking brilliant. That's possibly one of the funniest moments ever. Oh, I love you, Mr. Latham.
Brilliant.
Can I put that on social media?
Yeah, I'll book in for some. Have we got counsellors?
I won't do if you don't want.
I'm not fussed, it's fine. Put a link to our Patreon page on it, though.
I will do. Right, let's continue now. I've finished humiliating Mark.
So we're on to spiders now.
So basically, after the fact that they sort of push him into the planet, the X-Wing fighters come back for him. God knows how he managed to repair that ship of his. It's literally...
Well, maybe he got some tips off the fella
Blue
from
Peter
Chapter
Man.
9, Blue Peter Man. There's nothing you can't do with some double-sided sticky tape and, as you say, Dave, cornflake back it.
Cornflake boxes and wide coat hangers.
And ironically, what he should have known is that if he'd have had the DVD for the A-Team theme tune, everything fixes itself when you've got the A-Team tune going.
Yeah.
Or MacGyver.
Well, you think MacGyver and the A-Team in the future may have their own little team up and they basically fly around the galaxy helping people in need. What we do get in this episode is a nice little cameo from Richard Iodi from the IT Crowd, who revisits the character he played in season 1 of Mandalorian that he just happens to have sitting off in his ship.
The robot geezer.
Do you know his name?
No.
I haven't got it on my notes, but basically he pops up again. So she jumps in the pool of water. Now, the thing that popped to my mind wasn't specifically the scariness of the fact he's happy to just get naked in a snow planet, but it just so happens that the cave and the place they land in the whole of the planet happens to be the place where there's this pool. This episode did, in fact, create a little bit of controversy.
You see, hang on, I'll have to pull you on that one, because that's not strictly true, is it? When the spiders suddenly appear and they have to run back to the ship, they do have to leg it a fair way. I suppose that begs the massive question of, as a warm-blooded creature, she needed to find somewhere warm. Why the hell was she walking as far as clearly they did to find this pool of warm water? I think it was quite a way.
She's a frog, so she knows how to find water.
It's like a Jedi sense, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a froggy Jedi thing.
Did she just hop over there?
Yeah, but the other thing as well is, the great thing is Baby Yoda's still trying to eat the eggs.
He's a little bastard.
Well, that was the controversy with this episode, wasn't it?
Starving.
The fans were like, he's literally eating an unborn baby.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there's no difference if I eat a boiled egg. You know, I'm not going to suddenly end up in prison because I've eaten a boiled egg.
Or lamb.
Sorry?
We eat lamb.
By default, it opens up the whole conversation of why we eat other animals.
Yeah.
He's an alien and he likes eggs.
You
Well,
know,
then
I mean,
they'll eat spiders as well.
And he's a kid, so he don't give a shit.
well, yeah, I mean, it's like when you pick your nose and eat it, or you shove your finger up your arse. Maybe that's probably just me.
To coin a phrase, he knocks the top off of spiders.
What?
And eats.
Welcome, listeners, to Dave's topical innuendos.
We're back onto the cream eggs again. He snaps the top off a spider's nest and shoves it in his gob.
He does. He eats it like a Cadbury's cream egg.
And the thing is, you know he's going to do it.
Have you ever pulled the top off a nest?
It
wasn't your fault. So a lot of people weren't happy that he was eating eggs.
Oh, they need
thought-
to get hold of themselves, don't they?
It was probably some fucking vegan.
It's a TV show. It's like that. What was it? He was, it's a
puppet.
fucking puppet.
It's a puppet. So basically, I actually wasn't thinking he was going to eat. I thought he was keeping him safe in his throat.
He's just storing him in his stomach for when it's safe.
Yeah. Because he was right in there, wasn't it? It was like a lucky dip.
Mark, do you know that Santa Claus doesn't exist?
What? That's why I was hiding in my boot, trying to find him. I mean, this episode was mostly him crashed on a planet, Baby Yoda trying to steal someone's eggs, and then escaping from the spiders.
Which was very Harry Potter. I mean, sticking on
Harry
the
Potter
stealing
spider.
themes from films. It was Harry Potter and the second one, wasn't it? The Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, a load of little spiders. And
Yeah.
a big.
A couple of big bastard spiders, yeah.
I mean, the spiders were used in the film Lost in Space, which is they crash on a ice planet or something. So it's a bit overused, that particular thing, isn't it? They could have come up with something else. But anyway, that essentially was episode 3.
Yeah.
Episode 2. Did we like that?
It was my least favourite of this season, but I mean,
same here.
that's saying that, I still thoroughly enjoyed it because the whole season's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, after this one, we move straight into episode 3, chapter 11, The Heiress, which brings...
Pirates of the Caribbean, just saying.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Have you just literally made notes on the bottom?
It is. I'm not. As I was going through these episodes, I'm thinking, oh my god, it looks like Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean 2 or 3, whichever it was.
Well, going by your Scream reference, it could have been any of them, couldn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, there is now, but I don't think anyone's watched beyond number 1 or 2 because the shit after that.
Well, yeah. But if Johnny Depp does want to be a sponsor of the show and you haven't got too many legal bills, give us a call.
No, I refuse point blank. I have a standard, and I think Johnny Depp is definitely below my standard.
I'm sure you disagree. Thing is, you know who he is. He doesn't know who we are.
Yeah, he doesn't care either. Although his legal team does, so it's all allegedly.
Episode 3 brings some surprises, not less than the fact that Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode. Now, some of you might say, who is this lady you speak of? Well, you would be right. She is only famous for, apart from being in Jurassic Park, is the daughter of Ron Howard. I'm sure people would disagree.
I mean, what I would say about this is one of the things Star Wars does well / I suppose badly is the fact that it always very much earmarks who's the bad guy off the bat. I mean, when you look at a character in Star Wars, you can instantaneously go, good guy, bad guy. And when we all turned up to the Davy Jones Pirates of the Caribbean island planet, you instantly looked at them and went, bad guys.
No good then.
And so when a couple of the really dodgy looking ones go, come on our shit, we'll see you right, I'm going, you're a fucking idiot. I'm telling you, you're an idiot. And lo and behold, it turns out I was right.
Yeah.
But isn't that a good thing? Because we haven't got long episodes to spend the time to decide whether they're good or bad. The fact that you can work that out means that the episode can naturally evolve without you having to find yourself kind of guessing. I mean, this is the thing with these episodes, they are very, very tightly filmed and they're very quick with the narrative. So basically each one continues from the last one.
Yeah.
So in their own. So if you just watched it on its own, it's got a story, it's got a point to it, it's got a beginning, start, middle, end, which is the classic pair sort of things for a story. But then it continues. So obviously this one, episode 3, begins where he's now on the planet Trask, which is where Frog Lady needed to be.
Yeah.
So you've got that now, you know where you stand. So the Heiress episode brings us something that the fans were going crazy about and we're always looking for is Bo-Katan Kryze. Who is the deposed leader of the Mandalorian homeworld from the Clone Wars. So fans of the comic, the Clone Wars, will know who Bo-Katan is. Also played by, Mark will say, oh yeah, she was in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Apparently everything she was in.
Starbucks, she was.
Yeah, Starbucks.
If you'd like to be a sponsor, the 2 marks at thepodstation.co.uk. If you want to help a charitable cause, we're very charitable.
If you want to get us someone who doesn't have to jump into his boots.
Yeah, get Mark a new car.
Well, that was in the old days, you see. I'm still poor, but...
You just don't have to climb in the boot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've moved up from boot climbing.
Go see our social media for the video to which Mark is referring.
Oh, wow. So, yes, so she was voiced in the Clone Wars by... What was the lady's name?
It is Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff, yes.
It's a brilliant name, that.
Yeah.
That's a proper schoolboy giggle.
Yeah. So Katie Sackhoff actually voiced it in the Clone Wars, and it's really good that she's been able to play the character that she's been voicing. She's clearly been to the gym. She looks so slender, doesn't she, now, compared to how she was in Battlestar?
Yeah, she looks... I mean, she plays a great role, doesn't she, in this?
Yeah, I mean, but if you compare the way she looks in this to her cartoon animated version of her, they are very similar, which I don't know whether she's either decided to go to the gym to sculpt herself to look like the character, which is dedication to your acting, or it just so happens that she looks like the cartoon version of
You
her.
would do, though, wouldn't you? I mean, if you're getting paid for a living for it and you know there's a cult fan base for these characters, you would go all out to make yourself look as much like that character as possible.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for that, because all it does is it makes the fans feel that they're being served
or
properly.
makes them less moaning.
Yeah.
You just
I mean, the thing with the fans, they're a fickle species. You know, they either are very happy or they're not. Simply very binary in that decision. And so I'm grateful that she's gone and put the effort in. And she's a really good actress as well.
Yeah. You've got Bosch flying the ship.
Who?
Bosch.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I thought you meant as in the bounty hunter.
No. Bosch is the Imperial captain flying the ship. I mean, that must have been the easiest gig he's ever had. He just got paid for about 20 minutes work.
I imagine he's in between series. But he's also, isn't he, the evil one on Lost?
Is he? I don't know. I've seen Lost.
Okay,
spoilers.
Did you ever watch Lost, Dave?
No, never watched that. I think I watched about 20 minutes and then got lost and couldn't be bothered.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe one to go back and watch.
So again, he's in it, but she plays a really strong character anyway. And they're obviously trying to get the Darksaber, isn't she?
Yeah, that's her aim, is to get that.
And that's obviously canon, because in canon, she has the Darksaber.
You see, I didn't know any of this because I hadn't watched any of the Clone Wars that this comes from. I hadn't seen any of that, so I was oblivious. As far as I was concerned, she was just the leader of a Mandalorian clan that happened to be based on this planet, and they had a beef with the Empire as it was. And I was quite happy to help the Mando just, cause grief.
She basically wants the Darksaber off Moff Gideon and her team. That what this episode does do is it sheds some light more onto the different secular variations of the Mandalorians, because he doesn't take his mask off, and you'll be notably aware that they have their helmets off. Again, not an innuendo. No. Mando doesn't pull his helmet off as much as they do.
They pull them off.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
No.
You even apologised before you did it, and then still went on to do it.
Like, don't touch that.
You're a child.
Yeah. But yes, Titus Welliver appears in this, and as Mark quite rightly says, he plays Bosch. He's been in loads of stuff. He's another actor that does kind of a lot of work, doesn't he, in various TV shows and stuff. But Bosch is his main go-to. And the thing is he's one of the hardcore ones because he won't fold. I mean, They basically hold the ship, don't they, with the crappiest stormtroopers. And to set the record straight, although stormtroopers can't hit a barn door at 100 yards, they are actually extremely well trained. I don't know whether they've kept that in now, where they can't actually shoot things properly just for the sake of the fun. But obviously, they defend the ship, and what's her name?
Bo-Katan
makes her way to the bridge, and she's trying to find Moff Gideon, and he's not going to tell her where she is. And basically, shoots himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, does he shoot himself? He
goes to crash the ship.
Does he bite down on a kind of a cyanide pill?
Yeah, I thought it was like a cyanide pill thing he went for. He did the old Hydra secret agent, pop the bad tooth out and eat it.
So he won't tell her where it is. The Razor Crest has been crashed and is now being repaired. One of the interesting things, which is quite nice, was the fact that where he parks it in that sort of shipyard area, it's being repaired by a sort of decommissioned AT-AT walker.
I thought that was quite funny when he landed it, and he thought he was going to land it, and then he landed it in the water. That was quite good. I did find that amusing. One was amused.
It's hanging together with just spit and chewing gum in it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to ask the question of how he's managed to survive in space, notably one of the most extreme and hostile environments in the universe, and he's basically driven between planets, as you say, in a ship that's held together with cling film and a little bit of love. And that's about it.
And two engines that just smoke all the time.
Yeah. One of the things it does show, he does actually get into his little bedroom, doesn't he? Which is like a little cupboard.
Yeah.
So he's a bit like a hobbit in his own ship. So I think when he gets into that little cupboard, that's how he keeps himself safe. To be fair, though, there's the amount of damage that ship took. I'm surprised he found enough pieces of it to weld it back together, because we're talking blaster shots, talking about putting holes in it. You don't suddenly go, oh, well, so I'll just knock that out.
I'll just staple some cardboard to it.
Yeah, I'll get what's name's Kellogg's cornflakes box back in.
It's like those ones where you see the cars with the broken windows and they have like a shirt and they just stretch the shirt and shut the door on the shirt, so you've just got it stretched across where should be the glass window.
Well, you can just get some more cornflakes for Baby Yoda. He'll eat them all, and then he's got loads of...
Well, he can't, Dave, because he's full on eggs, isn't he? He's eating all the eggs.
Yeah, he's won the Cool Hand Luke competition, and he's done the food challenge, and he's eaten 50 eggs. Frog Woman's crying her eyes out because that's her whole family gone.
Yeah.
And you're going, it's all right, have some more Kellogg's cornflakes. No family. My family's dead.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, so episode 4, chapter 12, The Siege. So this one goes dark massively. This one, interestingly enough, is directed by Carl Weathers.
I mean, what do you mean by dark? I didn't feel there was a massive tonal shift here.
Well, it goes dark because it kind of shows how an ex-stormtrooper or someone who worked for the Imperial Emperor, what would you call it, the Empire?
The Empire.
How they basically, in making decisions on the battlefield, wipe out troops just for the greater good. This one kind of just goes a bit darker than it normally does. Obviously, we see Grief in there. I mean, that's his name.
I thought this one was quite funny, where they dragged that geezer along, who he arrests in the very first episode. He's chauffeur driving them to this base where they're going to be breaking in to blow it up, I think. And he's like, oh, well, I'll just wait out here. And he's like, no, you won't. You'll come on in. No sooner he steps outside the vehicle, I think something lands on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And destroys it. I thought it was still quite a light-hearted episode, even though I suppose the setting was a bit more Death Star, Darth Vader-y, dark and moody.
Isn't this the one where Baby Yoda goes to school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's a little bastard again, isn't
He's
he?
a bastard. He uses the Force to get the biscuit.
He does. He nicks that kid's biscuits. I mean, in fairness, the kid was asking for it because he was being a greedy little toad, wasn't he?
And you've got blue biscuits. What more do you want? He's going to eat them, isn't he?
Yeah, he steals all of them. I mean, genius.
Yeah.
Absolute genius, but that's proper shithousery. That's Star Wars shithousery.
Never stops eating. This particular episode lends some answers to what we saw in the last part of the latest Star Wars movies in regards to how Snoke and the Emperor were cloned. We see the cloning vats. We see Grief, who's Carl Weathers' character. He obviously is the person involved in all the villainy in Navarro, and he's giving him all the missions, isn't he, to not pay his way. I think he's just trying to find him work, isn't he? But then you've got Cara Dune's back, the ex-rebellion soldier. She's back, and I love her character.
Yes, it's a shame she has to keep posting on social media and got herself sacked.
I know.
She's back, isn't she?
Is she really?
Oh, is she back?
Yeah, I think they've done a James Gunn.
Yeah. Are they really?
From what I read the other day, Disney have folded because what she said might have been a little bit problematic, but wasn't wrong.
I'm looking this up. Lara Dune is back.
Cara Dune.
That'll be it. Cara Dune is
Laura Dune isn't back, just for the record. Laura Dune's been sacked. Cara Dune is back. So while Mark's just doing his fact checking, this episode has, I'm sure, is it Bill Bear's in this one again?
So he helps him, doesn't he?
And this is where Bill Bear has a bit of a flashback, because doesn't he sit in the canteen when he's trying to put the code in?
Yeah.
And obviously Mando has to remove his helmet, doesn't he? And this is one of these moments where he's caught between his belief system and his guild doing the right thing to get the codes. Bill Bear's character buys time, is chatting to the Imperial commander, is it?
No, that's later on. Don't we get some cool sort of trucks in this one? Is that this one?
They want to blow it up, don't they?
No.
They go into what is like the volcano mountain. It's like the typical superhero base hidden in a mountain with lots of lava and people making evil laughs in the background and dead bodies floating in liquid.
I've jumped ahead.
And they blow it up. That's essentially the full extent of the plan. The plan was drive there, get in, blow it up, get out, which is about as detailed as the notes that I tend to make for this show.
Yeah, I jumped ahead as well.
Don't worry, boys. One of us is professional. The one without the notes will keep everyone on track.
They go there on a land speeder.
Yeah, because the guy you're talking about is Mithril, the blue guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
So what have you two been thinking about while I've been talking for the last 50 minutes? You're like, what on earth is Mark going on about? Which geezer in the car doing a what?
Well, I'm still talking about the villain in Scream 2. I want to go back to that. No, I think I've jumped ahead. I was looking at my notes and I've obviously got Dark Episode, which is not the name of a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm talking the one with Bill Bear, the comedian.
Yeah, that's fair later on.
And that was a dark one, but Scream 2 is the one to watch. Mithril, the blue guy who is the one you said was arrested in season 1, and he's now, as you say, glorified chauffeur who's making snide comments. About
Well, he's basically made his bitch, hasn't he? That's all it is. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. He has to do all the crap jobs, and every time he moans about it or raises an issue, every time he tries to apply his legally entitled employee rights, Carl Weathers just turns around and go, I'll knock another 5 years off your 4,555-year sentence.
Or you can go back in the freezer.
Yeah.
The reason why this has got a dark tone is because when we see the cloning vats, we then realise why they wanted Yoda.
Yeah,
and obviously with the musical score that they have accompanying it and the tone of this particular episode just gives you that sadness that they've been trying to hunt down Baby Yoda for simply...
And how everybody looks as well. See previous notes about bad people looking like bad people and good people looking like good people.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that one, isn't it? And obviously they get away in their ship. We get to see those carrier ships again that we saw in season
well,
1.
I mean, before we move on, just very briefly, this episode probably comes third from bottom in my hierarchy of this season, if you know what I mean. It's a good season, but it's not brilliant. But it's sort of after this season, they sort of slip it into top gear. It just gets noticeably better. And again, when I'm saying better, that's not to suggest that the starting point is poor. The starting point is these were brilliant episodes. I thoroughly enjoyed them and I will watch them again. 2, oh my God, a little bit of We came out as we watched the following episodes.
Bit of We comes out every episode.
Well, that's just bladder issues, but we'll come to that another day.
Bladder issues is not a character in The Mandalorian. Although it could be. Bladder issues could be a bounty hunter on the planet Trask. They get away and they blow up the cloning vats. They sail off on the back of a land speeder, isn't it?
Land speeder, yeah.
Episode 5, chapter 13, is called The Jedi. Now, I can imagine why Mark has a little bit of We come out, because anything when you have the word Jedi in it, unless you fill in a census. It's basically
It wasn't on the one that I filled in this time
I
round.
did look for it.
Do you have to tick other now, Dave? Because they did actually put it on, didn't they?
Yeah, I think you'd have to tick other and then write it.
Yeah, because at one point enough people put Jedi for them to have to add it as an actually recognised option on the form. For our American listeners, is every 10 years they do it.
Yeah.
Every 10 years the government sends out a questionnaire which we're legally required to complete, and they use that information to build information about how society has changed over the course of time. So yeah, I mean, I love this episode. It was really cool. And I didn't know anything about this character either. I know you're going to go on to the fact that she was from the cartoon. I don't know whether she was from the Clone Wars as well, but it was only retrospectively that I found out this was actually a pre-existing character.
She was in the prequels as well, wasn't she, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's in there as well.
Oh,
well, I've got an Easter egg about that later on. But basically, to answer your question, she was in the Clone Wars animated and Rebels animated series. But to kind of throw in the Easter egg a little bit earlier than usual, she's most famous for being Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, and she at one point renounced the Jedi. So there's a lot for this character. There's a lot for her to be developed, and that fans don't know of her.
So why did she renounce being a Jedi?
Don't know. You'll have to ask her. You will be able to, because there is in fact a spin-off show on Disney Plus called Ashoka.
So she was under the tutelage of Anakin. Oh, that's pretty cool. I did not know that.
So bearing in mind, as we know, Anakin becomes Darth Vader, so maybe she left the Jedi simply because he went to the dark side and she didn't want to have anything to do with it. And so she just went into your typical wilderness period. You know, we've all been there. If your name's Steve Jobs, you know, it doesn't always work out for you, does it? Steve Jobs, if you're in the wilderness period, #next, which he got sacked from. But basically, that's what happened with her character. And she's, when we kind of pick her character up as this episode, the heiress. So Mandalorian and Baby Yoda arrive in the city of Caladan on the planet Corvus, which is basically where Bo-Katan told them to go. It's one of these outsider cities. They have an imperial magistrate. So this again shows us how the empire is now sort of broken up into those warlords, and each one's kind of vying for supremacy. And obviously that's canon, where the warlords are basically trying to get all the other warlords to group together, and they're fighting each other for supremacy. And this is before the First Order, or in fact the Last Order at the bar, please, comes about. And it picks up quite quickly where the tyrant's called Morgan Elsbeth. She has a job for Mando, and he wants to kill the Jedi that keeps killing her soldiers. And obviously we find out that this particular Jedi is Ashoka Tano, played by the wonderful Rosario Dawson. And I think, again, she made a perfect choice for the character. She just looked like the character. I'm glad that they went with her. She was great as Night Nurse in Luke Cage and the other one.
Daredevil.
Was she in Daredevil?
Yeah. I think she was in all of them, actually. Iron Fist and Jessica Jones.
Yeah. I mean, Night Nurse was the person who introduced Daredevil, because she actually helped Spider-Man when he injured himself and was introduced to Daredevil. So there you go. That's the connective tissue to that. Whether we'll see her again in other stuff, we don't know. But she actually played this character very well. And we also find the big reveal is Baby Yoda isn't called Baby Yoda, is he?
No.
He'll always be Baby Yoda to me.
Yeah, just Baby Yoda. The kid.
Grogu. And we find out that he was a Jedi Padawan during Order, which order was it? Order 88?
66.
66. 88 is beef, mushrooms, and prawn crackers. So don't get them mixed up, because one, you might end up killing a Jedi, the other one, you just get your meal. Turns out that he was actually a underling, what they call foundling. It was a
or something
foundling,
like
youngling, pick one, and was saved somehow by somebody. He didn't get killed by Anakin Skywalker. So there's historical, canonical information about that character. And obviously we know he's about 50 at this point. So it fits into the fact that he was probably being trained as a Padawan under the tutelage of a Jedi Master. So this one, a really good, impactful episode, I thought.
Oh, this is a sexy bitch of an episode. I mean, it's shot so beautifully. Everything about it, the mist, the colours, it's just moody as fuck. And everything about it is just brilliant. I just really like this. And actually looking back, if you take out her as the Jedi character that gets you all excited, there isn't a huge amount particularly that happens in this episode, and yet for some reason I really, really like this one.
It's a bit like in The Empire Strikes Back when you're in the forest. It's got that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It feels mystical and magical, and you kind of want to hang around to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just really well put together because, as you rightly say, again, I think a positive for the whole these types of episodes and the whole season is they don't, if you think about it, you're breaking it down as a review. There's not that much that's happening, but when you're watching it, there's lots happening.
Yeah, loads of little things.
But if you were to relate to someone, you would just bullet point it and go, he turns up to this city, he gets given a job to kill the Jedi. It turns out to be this woman who just kick ass.
She tells him some information, and then they team up to free a village.
Exactly. So you're essentially just being drip fed with a bit of a breadcrumb to the next episode.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, there's only 8 episodes of around about 35, 40 minutes each episode. You would expect them not to be able to get to the end of it. But actually they do, and they do it quite successfully. And you don't feel like it's a shorter episode because of the fact that you're watching it. You're just, I suppose, fixated by it all.
I mean, you find out loads about Baby Yoda in this, don't you? Which is probably the main part of the story that gets moved along here. Beyond that, you just follow how superly, megally cool she is with her ability just to kill every person who gets even remotely in her way. I mean, you would not pick a fight with her, would you?
No.
Well, whether she's still a Jedi, she's not. She's basically been trained as a Jedi. So as soon as she whips out that lightsaber, you're probably just going to step away.
But the thing is Mando also finds out loads about Baby Yoda in this.
He does, and we also... There's some sort of speculation, but Admiral Thrawn is a character who we haven't seen. Fans obviously will know he's the blue chappie, Grand Admiral Thrawn from Rebels as well. Basically, we get a little bit of a glimpse, another controversial moment that Grogu could actually go to the dark side. And Mando says to her, because obviously she is a Jedi, you know, would you like to train him? And she's a bit reluctant because she doesn't want to fall to the dark side. Now, that's why I said earlier, I think she ends up going into the wilderness, because in this episode, she says that she's afraid of another trainee going to the dark side like Anakin. So not that I know for a fact, but logic would dictate that because she was being trained by essentially Darth Vader, that's going to mess with your head.
I know, but I do get quite frustrated with these Jedi Masters who continually go, no, I don't want to train them. It's too dangerous. They might become bad. And their definition of bad is they stump the toe on the edge of the bed on the way to the toilet and let out a swear word. It's like, oh, dark side, feeling pain, feeling anger. It's like, that's because somebody put a fucking stool in the walkway between my bed and the toilet, and I've hurt myself, and if I find out who it is, I'm going to tell them what's for. Oh, dark side can't train you, you're going to become a baddie, you. It's like, no, I've just stubbed my toe, I'll get over it. I don't want to go and kill a village full of women and children on the back of stumping my toe. Let's not escalate it too much. And then you've got the cutest of creatures in the universe. Although, that being said, I think during the course of the first few episodes, we have established he is an absolute bastard when he wants to be.
Him a bastard many
we
times.
have done, yeah. He's eaten eggs, he's nicked biscuits. This kid's got an evil streak to him, but do we think that's enough to go to the dark side?
It's indicators that if he's going to start, I mean, let's get things into context. He's 50 years old. It's essentially a granddad stealing custard cream off your plate. So, you know, would you have a go at a 50-year-old? Probably not. However, would you have a go at a 50-year-old who has the power of the Jedi? You might just want to not take that gamble.
Can I ask the question of what a foundling is? Because I keep on hearing this mentioned. And
youngling, it's a youngling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the Padwans, young children who have got the
Midichlorians.
So why, when at the beginning, when he gets paid, does he say, oh, pay for me new shoulder pad, but give the rest to the foundlings? Because if the Mandalorian were direct enemies of the Jedi, why is he contributing towards the nursery for them?
His sect isn't specifically. I mean, I think the Mandalorians they're kind of anti-heroes. I think they go where the wind blows. They're not specifically. I think a lot of confusion has been is because they thought Boba Fett was a Mandalorian, but he's not. And because Boba Fett was a bounty hunter who happened to have Mandalorian armor. I mean, I know they've retconned it as we get to the close of season 2, but up until the point of this show, people thought he was a Mandalorian. He wasn't. He was a guy who was cloned, and as part of the deal, Jango Fett obviously was asked if he could have the young clone, which was Boba Fett. So when we see him, the kid he has is basically just a part of his own DNA. He's not a Mandalorian. He's just got the armor somehow. Same as Cobb Varth has ended up getting it off the Jawas. So we kind of allude from that episode that somehow the Jawas have been bobbing around the Sarlacc pit and have managed to get the regurgitated armor from the Sarlacc pit. And I'm sure as we move into, well, don't forget, coming this Christmas, we've got the Book of Boba Fett coming.
Yeah.
So we'll know exactly where that came from by this year, Christmas. So what they're doing is they're throwing all these characters up and then they're going to go and do a show. A little bit of, for the listeners, I've got a bit of an inside track. I was working on a job the other day and there is a code name called Pilgrim. Does anyone want to take a guess of what the Pilgrim code name relates to? And the person I was working with had just done 2 weeks on this show. And obviously the clue is it's a Star Wars thing.
Is it Obi-Wan?
It is.
Obi-Wan, isn't it? Yeah.
Because I watched the promo trailer for that the other day and that was quite good.
That's actually filming right now.
Who's playing him now, Mark?
It's Ewan McGregor.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, the difference is, because I saw an Instagram of him, they had to make his hair grey.
Yeah.
Well, now they don't. So they've been very clever. They've done it in the right time frame.
Yeah.
So when these are set 30 odd years after the original, so it's kind of obvious that these people have aged, which is why Boba Fett can't fit into his outfit. Like my trousers.
I should also update us on the Cara Dune thing, which at the moment is a complete and utter rumour. There is no credible evidence nor announcements. There is just a rumour that's swirling around that they might change their mind.
They did it with James Gunn. Watch the space. Maybe I've just been prophetic. So yeah, basically the Obi-Wan Kenobi shows come in. So they throw these characters in and obviously they think, well, we're going to make a show about them so we can delve deeper into those characters, which is good from a money-making service.
I mean, this episode, being a slower episode, is usually one I don't really generally buy into. It's usually my least favourite. This is one of those episodes where normally, because it's actually a slower episode, if you take out the cool fight scenes that she's involved in, it is a lot slower, moodier episode. Normally I get a bit bored with these. I just want shit to blow up. But this is probably one of my favourite episodes.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing again, isn't it? If you would explain it to somebody, a 40-odd minute episode would be simmered down to a couple of bullet points because most of it is action, isn't it?
Yeah, but a lot happens in it.
But a lot happens.
You get a lot of answers, and
yeah,
and then he gets his reward, doesn't he, for killing her?
Yeah,
he gets a superly cool matching spear, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, the spear is made out of his. I forgot what the name of the metal is, but it's a kick-ass piece of kit, and so now he's fully outrigged in his armor and everything else.
Yeah, but it matches his outfit. Again, that's the important thing. It's the same.
Is that the main
colour.
thing?
Yeah, you're not going to carry something that doesn't look good with what you're wearing, does it? Just saying.
I mean, the episode was a strong episode. I quite like the fight scenes personally, and you know the scenes where he's trying to get Grogu to go with Ahsoka and she's reluctant. That was good characters there. You know, you've got, I mean, Mark was talking about the fog and the mist of Corvus. You know, that's part of it. It builds all that up, doesn't it? Yeah, just a really, really strong episode for this particular one.
What about the next one? Because this one's a bit more, I keep on saying that they kept on getting better, but actually think about it, this episode was probably one of the weaker ones. This next.
Episode 6, the tragedy, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now you see we're moving into areas where we've not really had anything come before. So the tragedy was basically a bounty hunter extravaganza, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of action, fast-paced again, full of excitement, surprises, lots happening. But, you know, it's opened up more. So now Mando can obviously give Grogu to Ahsoka to train, and it was his duty that the armorer gave him to look after, to get Grogu to his sacred home. And then now he's got another task that he was given by Ahsoka, which is to go to Tython, where...
Do you know what this reminds me of? You know, when you go into a supermarket to take something back and they go, oh, no, you can't do it here. You need to go to the customer service counter. And then you go to the customer service counter, but actually it's not the customer service counter because having joined the queue and got to the front, they go, no, the customer service counter is actually just round the side of this counter. This is the other counter. So then you have to go and join it. That's what this feels like. This poor lad just wants to take this kid back to where he's from. And every time he meets someone, he goes, yeah, no, it's the other counter you need.
Just a bit further.
Yeah. Yeah, you've just got something else to do first.
Well, this is the bit about I was saying about the breadcrumbs. Each episode gives us another piece of the puzzle and another breadcrumb to follow. So this episode now, he's following the task given to him by Ahsoka to go to the ancient homeworld of the Jedi, which is Tython. I think I've pronounced that correctly. And then the idea being that he is then able to meet, presumably, another Jedi for him to get Grogu to be trained by. And basically, I suppose, it takes it to the next level, because up until that point, we were calling him Baby Yoda, which gives him a bit of that vulnerability. But actually now we know he's pretty powerful.
He's got powers. He's got a name.
And when you've got a Jedi, ex-Jedi, not wanting to fall over themselves to do the Jedi training, it kind of brings up the question of like, well, how powerful can he be? And the moment he becomes self-aware, this is the thing, isn't it? It's absolute power corrupts absolutely.
He's still Baby Yoda to me. I mean, you can say his name as many times as you want. I don't accept
it's just Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I do not recognise that name.
But obviously, you can see what I thought was another good part of this, the bond that's been created between Mando and Baby Yoda.
Well, it's not that great a bond, because he sits him in the middle of the rock Stonehenge place, and then he just sits there just doing his little meditation while Mando's getting his ass kicked by a million stormtroopers, and little Yoda, quite frankly, doesn't give a shit. He's like, I'm not bothered, I'm meditating, get on with it.
But at that point when he's meditating, you know he's caught, he's obviously, there's someone going to at some point arrive, isn't there?
Yeah.
Someone, you speculate, who is it going to be?
Well, this is the sad part, because I was thinking it's called The Mandalorian, but actually Baby Yoda's, let's be honest, has stolen the show.
He's taken it over now. Yeah.
Hasn't he? And then, so what I was thinking was, if he does get taken, what do you do with the show? Because it's The Mandalorian, but the bond that's been formed between the two of them make the show.
You just show him wake up the next morning hungover because he's just gone on a bender and he's got toilet tissue stuck to the side of his helmet. He's got kebab stains on his armour. His belly, he joins us 3 months on, he's got like a gut just hanging out at the bottom.
He's let himself go.
Yeah.
He's just like surrounded by bottles of gin.
He's just devastated.
Yeah. Like up until then, his life was worthless. And now we met his buddy who's just abandoned him in a cloud of just
Jedi-ness.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's getting battered by the stormtroopers. I mean, he's holding his own, but then admittedly, he's a Mandalorian, so that would make sense. But then we get to see Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. Now, Fennec Shand was the character we alluded to last season, who we just saw the shadow of someone standing over her. And fans at the time were like, oh, is it Boba Fett? Is it Boba Fett? Anyway, turns out it was, and he saved her. And she now feels that she needs to stay with him because she owes him something. Now, interesting point of note is the guy who plays Boba Fett, Tamora Morrison, never actually played Boba Fett in the original TV, in the original films, should I say. He actually played Jango Fett. But because we like to retcon stuff, the poor British guy who was Boba Fett has been written out of the historical chapters. And as far as we're concerned now, Tamora Morrison was Boba Fett. So there you go.
He's a miserable get, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's been chewed up by some big desert mouth thing.
Yeah, well, clearly, again, this is going to get picked up on, I hope, the book of Boba Fett, of the time he spent in the Sarlacc pit. Because, I mean, his time on the barge, what's his name? What's Emma's name? Emma the Hutt.
Jabba.
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt.
Shabba.
Baba the Hutt.
Bobba the Hutt. And Jabba the Fett.
Yeah. I mean, he literally just got knocked off, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
I beg your pardon.
All of his skills as a bounty hunter, Han Solo accidentally touched his rocket pack and he ended up just flying straight into the pit. That was it, done.
See ya.
Clearly, he's had some sort of scrape or something. So he's either climbed out of the pit and he's got all these scars now. But we get to see him again, which was handy. And obviously, we now know for certain what happened with the woman. What's her name?
Fennec Shand.
Fennec Shand. Yeah. I mean, great characters.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously nuanced. I mean, he's a miserable get, but he's nuanced insofar as he's from previous. So he adds that link back to sort of the original films, which everyone gets excited about. I liked her. Is it Ming-Na Wen?
Yes.
Who plays it? I liked that character in the first time we saw her, and I like her as a character as well. I mean, everything I've seen her in, I've always enjoyed, or rather I've enjoyed her in whatever it is she's been in. So I was quite happy to see this, and they added something to the mix, didn't they?
Get stuck in.
Yeah, they do.
A few stormtroopers, get rid of a few, and
It was a good episode.
Blow some shit up, don't they, Dave?
Blow stuff up, smack a few people around, and it's all good.
Just sounds like a Friday night at Liverpool, that.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
But unfortunately, the Razor Crest doesn't make it, does it?
Oh, well, it's not coming back. I wondered whether they might try and repair it.
The A-Team just go, well, that'll just knock itself out. That'll be fine. We'll just buff that out.
It ain't coming back.
Play the music. Dun, dun, dun. Right. I bounces off that double-sided sticky tape.
Yeah. So basically, you just got Howler Mad Murdoch just nodding his head going, nah, that's not going to buff out that, mate. I mean, to be fair, they're on another planet with very little in the way of natural resources. There is not like some random sort of tin shed seller who's selling bits of sheet metal.
No.
I mean, it's going, yeah, mate, do you want some sheet metal, some 8x8?
We'll weave the body of the ship out of grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just breathe in when you go into space. Just don't breathe out.
For 12 hours.
12 hours. Maybe what you want to get Baby Grogu, or Baby Grogu.
Baby Grogu, yeah, we'll talk about mixing it. I mean, you can't have it both ways. Pick a side, Mark, and stick to it.
Okay, well, let's go Baby Yoda. He could just basically put that force field around him, his meditation shield, and they could just fly inside that in whatever's left. I think there's probably the chair.
Now,
what's the thing that, in a plane crash, what's the thing that exists?
Black box.
Black box.
Yeah. Just jump in the black box. That'll keep you safe.
I'm looking on IMDb, and this episode gets 9.2 out of 10, whereas the next episode, Chapter 15/Episode 7, stay with me, that gets 9 out of 10. Now, I'm surprised by that because I actually think this episode, the one where they break into the t'other evil baddie base, which is the one that you two were talking about prematurely earlier. I actually thought that episode was better than Meditating Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I think it was,
actually liked that one simply because Bill Burr is a hilarious comedian, and that mixed with the action and the whole story worked really well. This one, again, if you were to simmer it down, is simply he goes to a planet to meditate, to find the Jedi, and then there's a big fight scene, and basically Slave One is used to transport the Mandalorian off the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty cool that you get to ride in Slave One.
I've never heard of Billy Burr before. I sort of roughly recognised him from season 1. I had no idea where I'd seen him from, and I don't recognise him for anything. Do you, Dave?
I've never seen him in anything.
He's an irreverent American comedian.
Is he?
Yeah.
Not like stand-up type.
Yeah, he's on Netflix, all over Netflix. I mean, he's basically no nonsense. If you watch Josh Rogan or Joe Rogan, he's on Joe Rogan's show a lot. In fact, he was interviewed most recently about the Cara Dune situation, and he stuck up for Cara Dune. And he said exactly the same as she did. And he went, if they sack me, they sack me. He was surprised that they asked him in the first place because he has quite strong views on things. But he's a comedian. And as he said, what are you going to do? Cancel me? Freedom of speech. He's got on record as sticking up for Cara Dune, and he's a good friend of her. He was surprised that he actually got the role he did and was asked back for season 2.
It might not be invited back for season 3 then.
I mean, the unemployment line for Disney Plus is going to get if they're going to create this environment, people are just going to have to start handing in their P45s. Yeah. Although I think they'll backpedal and do a James Gunn. But yeah, he's a comedian, and he's been in a few things, but he's notably more for the type of humour, if you find him funny.
I really liked this episode. Did you, Dave?
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. Are we now talking about 15/7? So,
yeah, well, we very quickly mark secretly through this one in.
I think the thing on this one, we get back to good old Star Wars stuff. There's loads of
back in, aren't we?
We're back in. Loads of stormtroopers. You know what I like? The stormtroopers that are dirty. And that's not dirty as in your thinking.
What channels have you been watching, Dave?
He's watching Star Wars porn.
Just Google it.
Dirty stormtroopers. I'll have to wipe me internet history afterwards.
Yeah, we get all nice, stormtroopers in lorries and stuff like that, and it's just all good stuff in it. It's proper Star Wars.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the battle tank.
Yeah, there's like a transport, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get inside the base, aren't they, without being notified. Yeah. Sort of notify everybody that's what they're doing. Mission. Dave's right, this is a classic actioner. It's got all the elements that you need for a really good episode. It's got all of the humour. It's got your sort of yippee-ki-yay stuff going on, the one-liners from Bill Burr. Yeah. It's got the dynamics between the characters. Yeah. You're building upon the previous episode with what's going on. It's got the action and another mission, another piece of the puzzle to sort out.
What I like about this one is you get to see what the Empire do when they're, in a canteen, having a sit-off
on the downtown.
Yeah. These are the things where they're kind of picking up, aren't they? The things that weren't covered in the films.
Yeah.
And
like tea break. Yeah. I'm sure when they were looking at the script where it's like, Darth Vader reveals that he's Luke's father. Cut to the canteen.
Yeah. There'll be a Subway in there or a
If Subway would like to be a sponsor, by the way, the 2 marks at the pod station. Yeah. We'll take your money. We're not prejudiced now.
No. But no, I mean, it's just the minutiae that you probably wouldn't cover in a blockbuster movie. No one's interested in the fact that a stormtrooper goes home to his wife and she's made him a packed lunch. No. And he's got 2 little baby stormtroopers.
You get all the different types of stormtroopers as well, which I think is cool.
But for this particular episode, it was a valuable thing simply because, we see Cara Dune, she's back. She's now firmly positioned in her new role as the New Republic Space Police, the Imperial mercenary guy, which is what Bill Burr plays, Mayfield, who obviously we saw last season. He's now out at the Labour camp. They've needed him to get back in because his authorization codes are still valid.
I mean, hang on. Let's just stop there for a second, shall we? I mean, who's in charge of their internet security? I mean, fucking hell. How long's he been out of the game? And how much shit? I mean, he's been locked up in prison for a start. At what point does a former employee who's now locked in prison still have access to your systems with the password? It's like
breaches all data protection laws.
Yeah, Darth Vader needs to go and strangle the person in charge of just passwords because that's an outrageous thing.
Where is password?
Yeah, Rogue One.
Username Rogue One. Password badass.
Yeah.
Darth.
Yeah. Favorite colour black.
I thought, and I mean, I know there's loads of action in this, and there's quite a lot of funny bits as well. When Mando sticks on the stormtrooper outfit, everyone's sort of giggling at him because he's still adhering to his code of not showing his face, but he's dressed exactly like the people he usually kicks ass on. But there are some quite nice, nuanced parts when they're in the base and he has to show his face in order to gain access to the computer. Bill Burr's character is really quite sensitive and understanding about the mental strife that he's sort of had to overcome just to reveal his face. And I thought it was quite touching the way he dealt with that, in the same way that there's always a danger here. And I think this is what The Mandalorian did really well. Mayfield as a character obviously used to be part of the stormtroopers. We find out in this episode he's got a massive bugbear because him and all his gang were sent in just to be pigs to the slaughter, and he's got a real issue about it. But you only find that out in this episode when he spots his ex-gaffer and wants to go over there and tear him a new one. And that's quite refreshing because normally when you've got a character who's been sent in and let down and seen all his mates die, he's usually the one sitting at the bar drunk as a skunk, moaning and bitching about it all the time and being the gruff, moody sod in the back corner. And yet, actually, his character is not even remotely like that. You don't get any inkling that that is a problem. And yet, when it does come to the fore in this episode, and he does go, yeah, I want to go and kick that fella's ass because he got a load of us killed and didn't care less, you do still believe that that is right and that's true. And that's a credit to how he plays this character both previously and in this episode, and the writers who avoided all those really, really irritating tropes that you can fall into.
And also, you're setting him up to be part of the gang in the future as well, aren't you?
Well, not now. He's been supported Cara Dune's posts.
No.
He's in the same pink lip queue that she's in.
He'll be there. The fans will not allow this shit to go down. There's more fans than there are Disney executives.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game. Let's be honest. It comes down to the dollar. I mean, not being funny, the one film that was absolutely lost money was Solo, and the reason why is because Rian Johnson fucked up the Last Jedi film and all the fans didn't bother going to Solo. No. So it's the only Star Wars film to make a loss at the box office.
Can I put it on record that I really liked The Last Jedi?
All right.
Did you, Dave?
I just thought it lost a bit, but I still love Solo.
I wasn't keen on Solo. I thought Solo was unnecessary, but I really liked The Last Jedi.
Solo ended up in the same category as The Joker, but unfortunately, due to lack of movies over COVID, I had to watch it.
Had you not seen The Last Jedi?
No, I've seen Last Jedi. It was Solo I didn't want to watch.
Oh, right, got you.
Because COVID, obviously, cinemas and Hollywood closed for business, so I was forced to watch that.
And what did you think?
They didn't need it. It's like, do you need to have everything spoon-fed to you, or are you an adult who can make the leap yourself?
Yeah.
Where he came from.
Yeah, you don't need an origin story just because you want to say how you say the name Han, just so somebody can go, we can make a movie because people say Han or people say Han, just so we can confirm that actually it's Han.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well,
Who fucking cares?
it's like the dice that hang in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
It was the hanging and pointing and going, look, people, look, the dice, look. And then you going, oh, give over. I really never cared about where they came from. I just thought they looked cool. Now you've just spoiled it for me.
As Mark's saying, the film was basically just a massive retcon for things that you've seen in the other movies in the 1970s, 80s, and then ended up being a woke fest of let's fucking go to the races and save all these horses because they're so hard done to, with loads of NPC characters that nobody cares about. We don't know who you are. We're just ticking boxes at this point. Let's have some pandering, please. Pile it on. No one's interested, and the fans weren't interested, so it made a loss, all because Rian Johnson, who isn't a fan, took J.J. Abrams and went, I'll take all your stuff that you've set up in the first film and I'm going to put it in the bin. I'm going to kill fucking Snoke because I can. And Catherine Kennedy is just
Spoiler alert.
I've got more money. Spoiler alert, yeah. If you've seen these films, whoops. So basically, that is what happened, and that's why you need to be careful. Don't piss off the fans, because there's more fans than Disney people. There you go.
Right, so we all enjoyed this episode?
Yeah.
What episode are we on now?
We've just got details of where they hide in Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
They were looking for details of where the ship is for Moff Gideon.
Yeah, because they knew that that's where Baby Yoda would be.
Yeah.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Where Baby Yoda would be.
Yeah. They were looking for Baby Yoda. Yeah, they know Moff's got Baby Yoda, and they want to go and save Baby Yoda, so they had to find out where Moff might be. Where's the Moff?
Yeah.
Follow the light.
So basically, that's more or less the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you've still got Boba Fett and Fennec Shan knocking around.
Yeah.
But what it does show is the kind of the length and the bond that the Mandalorian has to deliver Grogu or Baby Yoda to his destination to continue his journey. We now move seamlessly, as it appears, into the last episode of the season, Chapter 16, Episode 8, The Rescue, which again brings another wonderful dramatic close to the season.
Yeah.
There was quite an actiony one again, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had all classic Star Wars stuff, didn't we? You know, some idiot letting them through on a shuttle.
Yeah.
You know, it always happens.
It's same idiot who's got, I mean, in fairness to these people, if they're working off the same security system as the ones who were supposed to change passwords when you get sacked.
You could say anything and you get through.
Well, if your password's password,
Yeah.
you're going to get in, aren't you? If you think about it, the only improvement was a facial scan. But if a Mandalorian who doesn't take his head off, take his helmet off him, suddenly just shows his big fat face and it lets him through, just shows you how ridiculous that is, doesn't it? This one reunites Bo-Katan Kryze again and her lieutenant, Oscar Reeves. And this mission now is basically to face off against Moff Gideon, sort out Baby Yoda. And basically this is the build-up now to the end of the season. And so Gideon does his best to turn the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan against one another using what he knows of the Mandalorian. Because this is the way for Bo-Katan to get the Darksaber, she needs to win in battle.
Yeah.
Which is canon. And I think the fans were really keen about this because obviously what we saw at the end of season 1 is that Moff Gideon was just wielding this and they were trying to work out how he ended up with it. And obviously fans new to this particular show weren't not sure what it was anyway. They just knew it had some importance within Star Trek.
You did this the other day, didn't you? Just for the listeners' benefit, we're recording this on the 7th of May, and that's obviously 4 days prior to May the 4th, as in Star Wars Day. And at an event, we were celebrating the fact that it was Star Wars Day, weren't we, Dave?
Of course we were. We celebrate every year.
Mark repeatedly referred to Star Trek Day and Star Trek on numerous occasions. And on the basis that he's usually such a meticulous and knowledgeable chap in these areas, it was just another opportunity just to lay absolute hell at his door. And so now the whole world knows. He may edit this out. Who knows? You may never hear this. But
I get mixed up with April the 5th. I get mixed up with First Contact Day.
Cool.
So May the 4th and April the 5th aren't too far away from each other, are they?
No.
I mean, May the 4th is just a play on words.
Well, exactly, which is why I don't really accept the excuse you just given.
Because we say 4th of May. Or do we? I've gone Americanized. I don't know. Do we say them? Who cares? But moving forward in this episode,
Yeah, well, I mean, this episode on IMDb gets 9.8 out of 10. And yet, when I was doing a very small, admittedly, amount of research in preparation for this, all the reviews I found were quite negative about this episode.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they were. They were actually...
The ending alone, to 10.
Well, let's leave that to the end of the conversation. Yeah. Let's imagine that hadn't happened, Dave. Would you still be giving it a 10? Was this still a good episode?
Classic Star Wars, but you get a few fights, but no, it needed something at the end to really beef it up.
Okay.
Get it. Yeah, because if he just rescued him, what's he going to do? You know what I mean? He was always going to rescue him. He wasn't going to get killed, was he?
I suppose it was a very Star Wars-y episode, wasn't it? Break onto an Empire ship, find the person who's held captive, save them.
Kill a load of stormtroopers.
In the process, yeah. He did have that Star Wars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 to it, yeah.
Yeah, but he couldn't just, kill Moff Gideon, strike him down and walk off with Baby Yoda, could he? It wouldn't fit right.
No.
There's the thing, isn't it, where they're trying to play one off against the other.
Yeah.
And the outcome is he lets Bo-Katan kill Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Obviously, then she gets the Darksaber by the tradition of that. He makes the right decision. And obviously what we've seen over the course of this series is that Moff Gideon has been creating these really powerful dark troopers, which were alluded to in Rogue One and over canon have had different iterations of them. These ones are clearly not people and are more like Cylons. Would that be a right kind of comparison? So these are quite powerful troopers. So as that kind of comes to a close, the camera pans away, doesn't it? And kind of does a jump cut between this, and we see a hooded fellow.
Well, I think the first of it is when they say, there's an X-Wing coming in. You wonder who that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, before we get to that, he's had a fight with the Moth. Yeah. And got the sword and brings him up to the bridge so that What's-Her-Face Starbuck can kill him.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah, Bo-Katan wants him. So he doesn't kill him. He just brings him up. And then you have that really awkward moment about the sword. And, oh no, you're now the king of the Mandalorians. And he's like, I don't want to be the king of the Mandalorians. Yeah, no, but you are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but I don't want to be. Yeah, but that's because you overpowered the Moth. Yeah, no, but I don't want the sword. Well, do you want the sword?
No,
it doesn't work like that. I've got to defeat you. Okay, I yield. You've beaten me. Here you go. No, won't work. You're still the king. Like, hashtag awkward.
Yeah, and while Moth's all smiley about that and laughing.
Isn't it? He's having the right time. He's like, if I'm going to die now, I'm happy.
I'm happy.
Going back to earlier, he's put some Star Wars shithousery because he knew exactly what was happening when he lost that fight.
I mean, what did we think about the end of that, really, in terms of how it was left? Are we happy with that? I mean, did it feel like an anticlimax? Were we expecting it to be? Where it just all ended up where nobody really ends up paying for their evilness?
Well, they've left it really open. There doesn't appear to be a specific path that they're necessarily going to follow, although I have some ideas. They had to draw a line under the Grogu Baby Yoda thing, which they do, and it's then a case of where do you send the Mandalorian next before it starts getting a bit samey and boring. Well, clearly the Mandalorian's going to set off doing his usual travels, but with a slight caveat that he's got a target on his back because he is now the king of the Mandalorians because he's got this sword that he doesn't want. Yeah, and Bo-Katan really wants the saber, and she can't get it unless she kicks his ass. And so there's going to be a conflict of interest at some point. He's going to have to deal with that problem of she'll want to beat him and kill him. Does she have to kill him? Because...
No. He didn't kill Moff Gideon.
No, exactly. So I'm a bit...
He has to beat him in a fight.
Yeah, so I assume that's kind of where it's headed now. And Moff Gideon's going to be a prisoner somewhere, and no doubt he'll escape and be back on the run. I don't know. I mean, it does feel like they've drawn a line under the story arc for episodes 1 and 2, and they're going to start almost from scratch going forward.
I mean, yeah, I think it leaves it open purposely, doesn't it? Because, let's be honest, when you've got Gus Fring on your show, it's going to be a draw, isn't it, for fans? And he plays villains very well, historically. I mean, there's a bit of dynamic between Bo-Katan because obviously the difference between her guild and the Mandalorians guild is obviously touched upon. But then you've thrown into the mix, you've got Boba Fett, and she kind of dismisses him because he's a clone. What we didn't mention is that they retcon the fact that he is linked to the Mandalorians when he shows the genealogy on his wrist, his Palm Pilot, at the end of the previous episode, well, a couple of episodes ago, he shows his Palm Pilot, doesn't he, to Mandalorian, who gives as authentication to get his proper suit back, because he thanks Mando, doesn't he, for keeping hold of his suit. And he goes, hang on a minute, can you prove that you are actually a Mandalorian? So they go back in his family tree, and it turns out that his great-great-auntie once had a goldfish that was linked to a Mandalorian. And he went, all right, mate, the old checks and balances again works well in the world of Star Wars. It's like, man down the pub told me you're a Mandalorian. Here's your costume back with all your Kellogg's cornflakes on it. So obviously there's that dynamic between Bo-Katan, who is a Mandalorian, doesn't really accept, Boba Fett as one. You've then got Koska, who's willing to fight on behalf of the greater good. You've got this fight between, the dark troopers that are basically powerful enough to smash in Beskar, which is the most powerful armor or metal there is, and then how it's left. And the biggest things that had fans just messing themselves the world over was, as all this is taking place, and it looks like the door's about to get pounded in like a bailiff on a debt recovery mission. We see this TIE fighter land and this hooded character make his way through the corridors.
Who is it, Dave?
What they do, it's black and white at first, isn't it? So you don't see the colour of the lightsaber at first, and they're teasing you, aren't they?
Because I thought it was the Jedi girl to begin with.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I thought it was her.
They've done that well, because you don't want to peak too soon, do you?
No.
If you've paid your money, you don't want to splash it up all over the wall, do you?
No.
Not in the first 5 minutes.
No. The way it was filmed and the way it was executed is reminiscent, if you were to do them side-by-side comparison, of how Darth Vader in Rogue One, this is very cleverly from a filmography point of view, how Rogue One ends, which leads you into A New Hope. This is reminiscent of the corridor scene with Darth Vader. So what it flips it on its head, and we've now got a Jedi laying to waste these super duper powerful. I mean, Iron Man's not going to be happy about his Iron Army being destroyed.
He's dead. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Oh no. Although, is he?
Is he?
I think he's back. I hope he's not going to end up in this woke fest that is called Ironheart. Watch out for the review on that in 2022. But basically, this mysterious character is just literally battering these dark troopers, doing forced chokes, forced throws, forced pull-offs. I made that one up. That's a fantasy one of mine.
Meanwhile, Baby Yoda, or Grogu, is literally pricking up. He's thinking, hang on, who's this? I know who it is.
I hope he's got biscuits. I'll nick him.
I hope he's brought a load more cream eggs.
I've just realised Mr. Pollard is essentially a Baby Yoda. Every time I see him, muffins in his face or cakes, pasties, sausage rolls. Do not leave this guy. Do not leave the other Mark in a bakery. All that's I'm going to say to you. It'll be a massacre.
And I'm a little bastard as well.
Little bastard.
Yeah, he'll basically laugh in your face whilst he's eating your muffin, which is not a euphemism.
Lovely. No. We don't do that.
So no, but who is it, Dave? Who is this who is this hooded character?
Well, he's the Jedi that is Luke Skywalker.
Woo!
And we are brought right round, aren't we?
Now, the fans thought that this was a better interpretation of the way he looked from the originals than they did with Princess Leia. Another fan thing that I was looking at is they seem to think that Sebastian Stan, who plays Winter Soldier, looks a little bit like Mark Hamill. So there is rumours, again, in the rumour mill, so don't take this as gospel, that there could well be a Luke Skywalker spin-off. That has Sebastian Stan play him, because that compiled with computer generated imagery and the wonderful special effects that we now come to see, in particular Marvel make use of this very well, de-aging technology. They've got a really good canvas to start with in Sebastian Stan, and haven't seen the side-by-side comparisons, I would tend to agree.
It was very exciting.
It was very good.
I don't know why. I mean, well, I do know why, because Luke Skywalker was my hero as a child, and it was incredibly exciting to see him again. And the computer generation version did look very real. I mean, it's still not quite there, is it?
No.
The uncanny valley hasn't got you to believe that it is. The interesting thing with that is that obviously it was Mark Hamill's voice. It wasn't the body, because again,
he's had a few more buys since then.
He's been the Force hasn't been good with him.
The Force has been more orientated towards how many pies can I make float into my mouth.
Yeah, yes. Force choking hasn't involved him throwing up.
In fairness to him, he's just older, isn't he? I mean, Christ alive, he's about 40 years older than he was then. Get any of us to stand and have a picture taken of how we looked 40 years ago, you ain't getting the same picture, are you?
Definitely not.
Well, I mean, that video on the social media is me about 20 years ago. I don't know, 10 years ago. So basically that wraps up this season.
Did we enjoy it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, amazing.
Was it better than season 1?
Marginally, I would say. I would personally say yes.
I would say, the stories were a bit more in-depth. Got a load more characters. But no, just generally spot on. And what a way to leave it.
You see, I binged all of season 1 and 2 at the same time, and I didn't realise that I think they brought both out more or less the same time, didn't they anyway? Or did they? You know, when Disney Plus was launched, they were both on there. I don't know. I couldn't really distinguish the difference between season 1 and season 2. It all felt like just one season, almost a 16 chapter season, and it wouldn't surprise me if episode 3 almost starts as chapter 1 again. It's a second book, it's a whole new story, it's a whole new adventure that will continue for seasons 3 and 4, as it were.
Well, the only thing we got at the very end, if you stayed on and watched it, was obviously the Boba Fett goes back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And takes over the throne of Jabba the Hutt.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because obviously you've got, what was the name of the
Fellow with the Hoover on his head.
Yeah.
He's sat in the chair. He's looking a bit 40 years on.
Well, I mean, that's again, I think the same character. Well, he actually, the actor is the one that appeared in the prequels.
Yes.
So the prequel guy is that one. They haven't gone back to wheeling out the pensioner, but I'm trying to think of his name. And I was going to say Salacious Crumb, but that's the little jackally thing in the cage.
Oh, it sounds like a biscuit, does that?
He's the one who goes, Ejabawonga.
Yeah.
Salacious Crumb with creamy centre.
Available in all good
biscuit stores.
Biscuit stores. What does Wikipedia say, Dave?
Funny enough, it doesn't go that in depth.
It doesn't go that. Fucking hell.
It really doesn't.
I've lost all respect for society.
Bib Fortuna.
There we go. See, didn't let you down, did he, on Wikipedia?
No.
So yeah, Bib Fortuna has taken over Jabba's palace, and that nicely rounds that off, doesn't it?
Yep, kills him.
But it sets the scene now of where we're going to be picking up on the book of Boba Fett. And I thought it was a nice little kind of Easter egg at the end of that, because that's coming in Christmas. Yeah. So we're all going to be sort of sitting around the Christmas tree watching Disney Plus at December. Keeps all the subscribers happy.
It's interesting that Disney have adopted the Marvel, was it post-credit spoiler thing in Star Wars as well. So it seems that it's now a Disney thing to have a post-credit spoiler as opposed to it being a Marvel thing. They've sort of taken that and developed it on, haven't they?
Yeah. When you paid $5 billion for a company, you probably want it, don't you?
Yeah, you can do what you want.
Yeah, to be fair, you know, when you own every company and every franchise there is, you know, who's going to argue with you? It's just a hammer off of a show.
For the benefit of the lawyers, not me.
No. So before we wrap this up and give it a score, shall I just briefly go through the season's Easter eggs?
Do.
I mean, again, I've kept it quite keen in terms of not picking up obvious things. We've mentioned a couple of them. So the obvious ones for fans, the Ashoka Tano kind of cameo and the Bo-Katan cameo. The fact that Bo-Katan is after the Darksaber, which obviously goes into the canon with regards to that. And we obviously saw her have it in season 1 in the cartoon version. In this one, you get a nod to the Clone Wars with the Death Watch. And basically the Death Watch were a terrorist splinter cell group, and they were designed to have Mandalorians move away from their peace-loving position towards warring.
Hang on a sec. Shut up! Continue.
Oh, okay. So they were trying to force them from going from more peaceful to more warlike. And in fact, Bo-Katan mentions Mando's current clan, which is the Watch, which are the ones who can't take the helmets off, and hinting that their lineage stems from the very group that they were once part of. So that was quite nice mention there. Again, the Night Owls, they are mentioned by simply the colour on one of the helmets. That blue hued armor, that is a little nod to the Night Owls. They basically are essentially an elite group of soldiers, and they're led by Bo-Katan. We see a little bit of a throwback to Admiral Akbar. It's a trap! The Mon Calamari pop up in this. They're in the port on Trask. I think that's the guy that comes over and goes, "You can't park here." I don't know why he speaks like that. Also, while they're on Trask, we see the species that are known as Quarren. Now, for those who aren't fans of the original middle films, the Quarren are the aliens that are seen in Return of the Jedi. They look like squids. They've got the squid faces. I think mostly may have been popping up in the prequels as well. So Generation X, you might know them from the prequels, possibly. Corvus is the planet they go on, which basically is where Ashoka Tano lives. That's just a kind of a link to that.
It's just a thing. Accept it's a thing. It's a fact.
It is a thing. The reason why it's just a thing is because actually there's no canonical information for that. It's just where she resides. So live with it. And then finally, the last one. This is probably for the ardent fans or people who have Wikipedia. Oh, Dave.
All right, me, yeah.
Yeah, Dave's got one. The Gozanti Cruiser or Gazant Cruiser. So those who know their Imperial ships will know that this is a frigate. The Gazanti Cruiser has made appearances across Star Wars in The Phantom Menace and multiple episodes of the Clone Wars. And then the one that I mentioned earlier, which I thought was quite humorous, is the fact that you've got a decommissioned AT-AT pulling the Razor Crest out of the harbour to repair it the best they can, which is quite a nice little nod to the AT-ATs. I enjoy the AT-ATs. I'm not too sure whether you're a fan. I wasn't too sure about the two-legged ones, the ATSTs, which sounds like a sexual transmitted disease, if I'm honest. I once was with Bo-Katan and she gave me ATSD. Anyway, that rounds up the Easter eggs. So, Mark, do you want to go around the room, the virtual room, and see what we scored?
Yeah. What would you give it out of 5, Dave? Season 2.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
I'd give it 5 out of 5. It's just totally enjoyable. They are just little films in themselves. And again, like we said last time, they're setting up characters for so much more. This is going to go on for years and years, isn't it? It's going to be great. And the ending alone, I've watched it probably 10 times. Just the ending of that last one is so good, I think.
It is. As soon as you hear the music, you just, the Wii just comes.
I think what's quite good, I don't know, you didn't get any nods that was going to happen.
No, I never expected it.
Good, aren't they?
Even when I saw the cloaked figure, at no point did it cross my mind that it might be Luke Skywalker.
No. And we got R2-D2 as well.
Did we?
Yeah, at the end.
Yes, of course we did, yes. No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My two favourite characters, Baby Yoda and R2-D2.
What about you, Marcus?
Well, for the benefit of the listeners, what we might not have explained is that we're now marking these out of 5.
Yeah, if we did it out of 10 in the last one and we're now doing it out of 5 and you're thinking, why? A, I can't be asked, considering that as consistency being important in my life. But yeah, there is a reason. We mark everything out of 5 on social media, don't we? Yeah. So we're just bringing in line our scoring system. Because, of course, it's important and people listen to us and take note of our opinion.
We're going decimal next time. So out of 5, I'd give it a 4. And the reason, as I always give it...
That's like a 7. You're such a knobhead.
Why is that? No, because I don't want to give it a 5, because what if next time it's a 6? We don't go up to 6.
But then you just give it a 5 and say there should be a 6.
Why? Well, no, because it might be a 7.
So what would you give season 1, bearing in mind you said that season 2 is better than season 1? Does season 1 get 3 out of 5?
No, because we marked it out of 10, and last time I gave it 9 out of 10, because it's not a 10. Same reasons I'm giving it 4 out of 5. But, it's not a fucking 5.
Well, all right. Well, going by the old scoring system, bearing in mind we don't do points, so it's only whole numbers.
9 out of 10 this would have got if we were doing 10, and now we're doing 5. It's 4 out of 5. So it's the same as 9 out of 10. You just half the number.
So you're giving...
Says the mathematician in the room.
So you're giving season 1 and season 2 the same score?
Essentially, yeah, because last week I scored it 9 out of 10. We've changed our scoring system to 5, so it's 4 out of 5.
I know, but ignore the scoring system. You said that season 2 is better than season 1, but you're giving it the same score.
Yeah, because I gave it 9. It can be better and still the same. Because
and there's the oxymoron we were looking for, people.
If I give it a 10, right, what if season 3 is better than season 2 and I go, oh, it was really good, I enjoyed it, and then go, what, 10 again?
By that logic, you're going to be stuck at 9 out of 10 forever until you get to the final season and you know it's the final season, at which point you'll want to give it a 10 because it deserves 10 and all the other previous seasons should have had 10. You just didn't give it to them because it could have got better. Even though, by your own logic, season 2 is better than season 1 but still has the same score, which by default says that you could have given season 1 10 out of 10, still given season 2 10 out of 10 and said that it was still a better 10 out of 10 than the other one. I know I'm being pedantic and irritating here, but, why else would you keep me around?
The sponsorship deal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to also give it 5 out of 5 because brilliant. And if season 3's better, then I'll be so excited about the fact that it was better. I'll give it 6 out of 5.
Yeah,
and
we'll just score it out of
yeah,
6.
you can just you just deal with it.
Well, I'll give it 20 out of 10.
And do you know what? You could do that because that's how little importance I attach to these markings just generally. I will sleep perfectly fine at night. I'm not sure you will.
Well, I'm an insomniac, so I won't.
Well, hopefully you've enjoyed that chitter-chatter about The Mandalorian. Dave, will you join us when we come to doing season 3?
Yeah, I'll try and upgrade my resource tips and I will ditch Wikipedia and look at other sources of information.
Well, I think
films.
I'll just watch it. I'll just watch it instead.
I mean, we will. I think the plan is we're going to do episode by episode, aren't we, for season 3? Yeah. So we won't be cramming it in and covering it quite as vaguely as we have done these ones. It seemed like too much like hard work going back and doing each episode retrospectively. Yeah. So everyone can stay tuned and enjoy that thoroughly. Give us a review, check us out on socials, send us emails, just do stuff. It's all good.
But mostly give us money.
Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Dave, thanks a lot for coming on the show. We've thoroughly enjoyed having you on, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Mark, love you as always.
Ditto. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure. This is the way.
Get social at The Two Marks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also check them out on YouTube.